Three takeaways from Atlanta United's 1-1 draw against CF Montréal at Stade Saputo, north of the border, as Atlanta United get another late point, courtesy of Alexey Miranchuk, who has continued his strong run of form. We'll try to touch on that in just a little bit. But yeah, Henry, let's get into it. First takeaway, Juan Berrocal and Steven Alzate coming in the second half for Atlanta United. Ronnie Dylan on the post-match press conference, saying that even though Alzate came in for about 10, 15 minutes, he doesn't fit past that point. So obviously the priority is getting him fit and trying to get him to a point where he can start and play a little bit longer. Was happy with Berrocal, how he played, was happy with Alzate as well. Said that the two of them have visa appointments in Toronto coming up, and then they should be all set to go to play for Atlanta United down the stretch. Don't know if they'll start against the Colorado Rapids, but thanks maybe lining up for his first MLS start at home coming up in a couple of weeks. But don't know if they made much of an impact to me. Berrocal almost scored on a header, just came so close to scoring. And Alzate had a little bit of a lesser impact, but that's how I saw it. What are your thoughts on both of them?
Well, yeah, I think Steven Alzate, he only played like 5 minutes or something like that. He didn't really have enough time to do much of anything. I didn't really see a lot of, destroyer number 6 from him, which is what we were kind of thinking he would be. I guess the one big positive that I saw from him was this one really good, like penetrating, like line breaking pass that he did to, I think, Luke Brennan. That was a really, really good ball. And you don't really see a lot of Atlanta United's players play those types of balls very often. But it's certainly, a positive thing to see from a midfielder. And you know what? I mean, at this point, literally anyone's better than Tristan Muyumba, who had just an atrocious first half. But yeah, and we'll get into that in a minute. But as for Berrocal, he did play a little bit more. I think he had about half an hour-ish. I thought it was interesting. I thought he was actually a little bit more impactful than perhaps you led kind of there to believe. But from my perspective, I thought defensively his movement was interesting because he did something that I don't think I've seen any Atlanta United center back do for the past 2 or 3 years, at least. He tracked a cutback cross and like anticipated it and kind of stood in the way of the passing lane, which I thought was good because I haven't seen anyone do that for Atlanta United before. I think it was his first play when he came on where there was I don't know who, but a Montreal attacker coming down the right, Atlanta United's right side. And Berrocal basically saw a player inside the box where there could be a cutback, and he kind of shifted to be close to him and like be there to cut off a pass that went his way, and eventually forced Montreal to go back and go out. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was a great play. Obviously, the one long ball that he had to, I don't know if it was Lennon or Ronald Hernandez or someone, but it ended up going into a Saba shot. And then obviously his him on set pieces and his potential to score from there. We saw that. That was really, really good. So I thought he was good. I thought that was a very good first impression. And I can't wait to see him paired together with Anea Mihai because it looks like both of them can serve some of these dimes from the back line. And I think that's going to be good for this team moving forward. If they really want to press on that, kind of quick build up, quick balls out to wingers, just fast movement forward. I think that'll be interesting to see with these two center backs.
Decent start for Berrocal, certainly. I agree with you. Alzate, like you said, again, didn't see too much of him, but as he gets fit, as he continues to get integrated with Atlanta United, looking forward to seeing what he can do. Speaking of midfield, takeaway number 2, we mentioned it. Tristan Muyumba, just the form that he's been in has just been very, very disappointing. First half was just very forgettable. Several misplaced passes, the sequence that led to Montreal's lone goal of the match. Gets beaten to the box by Caden Clark. Was caught ball watching, and that allows Caden Clark to make a move into the box. And Clark finds Dante Seeley, who makes it 1-0 Montreal. That's just a sampling of what we saw from Muyumba on this evening. Will Reilly came in at halftime, and to kind of catch up on what Ronnie Dylas said in the press conference, said that Muyumba needs to improve, that Muyumba isn't quite playing at the level that he expects him to play at. Says that he's not 100% fit, dealing with injury situations, but you could see the midfield improved when Will Reilly came in. Will wasn't perfect. He had a few mistakes of his own, especially a little stretch in the second half, later on in the second half, but you can see I wrote about it on scarfsandspikes.com that the level of midfield play improved when Will Reilly came in.
For sure. I was saying it for most of the first half, like Tristan Muyumba has to be a halftime sub because this is ridiculous, just how bad he's been. He's been a faller in my last two risers and fallers, and you can probably bet that he's going to be in this one because I thought he was the worst player on the field tonight for Atlanta United. Close second, Emmanuel Latte Lath, but we'll talk about him in a sec. It frustrates me because in this midfield, he's going to get the ball a lot. The whole idea is that he and Bartoslic kind of have to play off of each other a little bit, and he has to help the team build forward. Well, he's not good under pressure. He faces a lot of pressure, and he just doesn't know how to handle it. And he tries to dribble through, but he's actually not good on the dribble. He's not as good as he thinks on the dribble. And so he gets dispossessed. It turns into, a turnover. It's a nightmare. So it's just not good enough from him. He needs to be much, much better. I think he takes way too long on the ball sometimes, and it kind of closes the team's window of opportunity for really moving quickly and doing anything of value on transition moments. And defensively, he gives you almost nothing, I think. So it's just a completely mediocre performance from him. And I'm a little concerned. Ronnie Dyla, if he's saying that Muyumba isn't really 100% fit, and you have a Will Reilly who is, I'm curious why you're choosing Muyumba, who has had, in my opinion, this is his third straight poor performance. It might even be more. I just can't really remember past that because all the kind of crap performances start blending together. But he's had 3 bad performances in a row. Why are you playing a guy that you're admitting isn't 100% fit over a homegrown, who has shown some promise? Yeah, the last game wasn't great for him, but I wouldn't judge him on that one performance when he's clearly shown promise in others. And I think, again, as you said, the midfield improved when he came on. Even though he's not perfect, it's better than whatever Muyumba was giving you, which was nothing much. So Alzate probably not going to be fit to start against Colorado. So you'll probably see either Muyumba or Reilly starting that game. I personally would like to see Will Reilly start that game. I think you've seen enough of Muyumba. Leave him on the bench. Start Reilly. And if things get really, really dicey in the second half, you could probably give Alzate closer to 30 minutes than you did in this game. So hopefully that's what happens. Hopefully Ronnie Dyla realizes that just Tristan Muyumba is not it.
Yeah, and you kind of alluded to it with Reilly, had his worst performance of the season against Atlas. But again, it's kind of an outlier because Will has been really good for Atlanta United when called upon. And you wonder with Muyumba, the way he's playing and the way Reilly is playing, right? Do you have a decision to make for Muyumba? I mean, he's under contract until 2026. He has an option for 2027. So you wonder if he's among the players that Atlanta United may look to move on from. It will have to be via trade or transfer, of course, with him still under contract, but maybe another decision to make for the front office, one of many that they'll need to make when the season comes in. And takeaway number 3, Emmanuel Latte Lath. You mentioned him just briefly. Just should have had at least a goal. I mean, gets on the other end of a bad giveaway, has an open net in front of him, and just misses just by inches. That's a goal as a striker, you have to hit not even 9 out of 10 times, really 10 out of 10 times, especially considering the money that he's being paid. There's another chance he had. He struck it pretty well. It was saved by Thomas Gillet, the Montreal keeper, but I feel like the placement on that should have been a little better for Latte Lath. I mean, what's going on? We know he's been dealing with a few things with his family and all that. We definitely want to give him the grace and the benefit of the doubt when that comes into place. Certainly, we're not, beating him down with that in mind. But from a performance standpoint, he has to be much better. Just the balance of his season for Atlanta United, especially considering again how much he's being paid. I said it when they signed him. Initially, when they signed him, when he gets on the pitch, he's going to be judged right away by that $22 million number immediately. It's going to be the same thing with Heung-min Son and LAFC, the new record signing for MLS. But considering that Latte Lath is making 22 or was paid 22, or the transfer fee was $22 million, I should say, he's going to be judged on that. And right now, if you look at the balance of his season from the first day to where we are tonight, it hasn't been good enough. I think anybody, including Latte Lath, will admit it's not been good enough. It's just vastly disappointing, and we've continued to see this more often than not with him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's his family situation is, and obviously, I mean, we from the outside, it's impossible to really know what's going on in the life of footballers, and that can certainly affect their performances. So if he does have some sort of situation, I sure hope he resolves that in the best way possible, and that he and his family are going to be fine. But going back to the soccer aspect of things, yeah, I mean, I think we said it at the beginning of the year when we were giving our predictions for like MLS stuff, and we were talking about the Golden Boot. And I think a lot of us chose Latte Lath to win the Golden Boot. And I think the thought process was, and I think you were the one that actually said, it's like, well, if you paid $22 million for him and he doesn't win the Golden Boot, then something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah. I mean, even in the world with Messi, I mean, maybe
but you should be close, right? Even if you don't, okay, suppose Messi just balls out and scores,
or Sam Sturridge for that matter.
He's at that point right now, right? He's scoring 18 goals. He's tied for the lead with Sam Sturridge.
Yeah,
you would expect Latte Lath to be up there as well.
Exactly.
He has 7 goals this season. That's nowhere close to the mark. You're way off, dude. And at the beginning of the season, again, we bring this up. He got grace because the whole team was pretty bad, and it still kind of is not great. But he's gotten chances now. He got 2 big chances in this game. He got to play it in on one play. He's literally him and the goalkeeper, and he makes it too easy for the goalkeeper. I think he aims it basically right at him. That's one that's got to go in the corner, man. You've got to cross the keeper, go far post. Come on. He tries that when he gets that giveaway. That's a golden chance, man. You cannot throw that away. Absolutely. If you're a striker, right? Especially not one that's being paid as handsomely as he is. He's one of the highest paid players on the team. And he's the biggest, or he was the biggest transfer fee in MLS history until about a month ago or a few weeks ago. Right. And so you really start to think, like, what's going on? Like, what is going on with his finishing? And is it a matter of confidence? Is it a matter of, he's still trying to figure out life in Atlanta? I don't know. Life with this team. Is it just a symptom of how poor this team has been and it gets in his head? Perhaps, there's a Gauss theorem in all this where, next season he comes back and he's much, much better. And that's, I think, the best case scenario for him. This season, I think we can all agree, this season's a wash. There's really nothing you could do at this point. For this season, it's going to end on decision day. That's going to be it. But 2026, his second full season with the team. And ideally, you would think that it's going to be with a more fleshed out roster, with a roster that's more conformed to what Ronnie Diallo wants this team to play as, a roster that has had now, at that point, will have 3 full transfer windows of Chris Henderson's influence. And you would think, okay, this is a record signing. They're going to build this team a little bit more around Latte Lath to play to his strengths. And hopefully once you turn the page on 2025 and you start 2026 completely blank slate, that can help reactivate him, right? That can help him kind of what we call clear the cassette and just start fresh in 2026 and be that guy. And maybe it helps that he isn't the record signing anymore. Maybe that takes some pressure off of him with Heung-min Son now at LAFC. So I'm curious to see what will happen. Again, it's not unheard of that a player comes into MLS, doesn't really hit it off, second full season, and they are off to the races.
Right.
Prime example, Sam Surridge. He's tied with Messi for the Golden Boot. He came in, he wasn't really doing anything. Now he's balling out. And there are others like him that I just can't think of at the moment. But
Hugo Kuipers.
Good example there. Many others. But yeah, hopefully, I think that's his best case scenario is that, you give him a rest, at the end of the season, which again will end in October. Atlanta's not making the playoffs. We can get that out of our minds already. He's going to have a few months of vacation, come back for preseason with a newly fleshed out roster and come back and kick ass.
Let's hope so. Do you want to do a quick bonus takeaway real quick before we go?
Let's do it.
Alexey Miranchuk, 5 goals, 7 matches. I mean, we've criticized him a lot on this show and on the website. I mean, time to reevaluate where he's at right now, I guess.
That's an interesting question. Again, if y'all have heard me, you know that I've been very critical of Alexey Miranchuk. I've probably been one of the most critical ones on this show and on the website of Alexey Miranchuk, especially at the 10. I wrote, I think, 2 different articles on why he shouldn't play the 10, but he's really starting to come into the role. And, I think, yes, I think the big thing is he has 5 goals in his last 7 games. And 3 of them have been clutch goals. I want to say 3 of them have been clutch goals.
Something like that.
Game tying goals instead of game winning goals, which is, I think, the most frustrating part for him is that these don't win games. They just tie them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's looked solid. In this game, I thought he actually was kind of invisible for most of the second half. And then he pops up for that goal. And I guess he can't really complain about his performance when he does that. But I think his passing is very valuable to this team. I think he plays some very good incisive balls. I think in the first half it was that he had a very interesting kind of chipped ball into the box for, I don't know if it was Latte Lath or Saba or someone, but it was a really, really good chipped ball in, and he plays a lot of those balls. And I think that is valuable. That deserves credit. I know there are some folks who just really want him off the team because he's not an ideal number 10, and I've been there, but I have to give him credit, and I have to, say that he's improving, and hopefully he keeps this up and add some assists too. Now, here's the thing. I think he'd have some assists if some of the players on this team would finish their dang chances. You have a few forwards in front of you. They're just not taking their chances. And I think he'd have many more assists if they did. And that's kind of me being devil's advocate here and speculating a little bit. But yeah, I think he deserves a little bit more credit than he's been getting. And at this point, I am kind of reevaluating my stance on him. I think maybe he is the right guy for Atlanta United. I think I want to see him. I think I want to see him with the ideal 11 because we haven't seen him with the current ideal 11, which I guess is, Berrocal, Mihai, Alzate in there. And at the end of the season, this is pure speculation, but I think they completely changed the back line. And you have Mihai and Berrocal as your center back pairing. I think they changed the 2 fullbacks. I think you have 2 completely different fullbacks and potentially a new left winger in the offseason. But yeah, I think this team changes a lot between now and January. And I think until we have the full picture of what that looks like, I'm fine with holding on to him and giving him the benefit of the doubt. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but I think I'm fine with giving him the benefit of the doubt, at least until next season starts.
Yeah, hopefully more to come in 2026. And with the season he's had, really the season that Atlanta has had as a whole, hopefully from the get-go in 2026, he can be that player that Atlanta United brought him in to be. Nearly won the game, hit the crossbar in stoppage time that would have given Atlanta a 2-1 lead. Ultimately, he couldn't do that, but again, had a clutch goal once more for Atlanta United to snatch a home point or a road point away from CF Montreal. Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes is where you can go to get access to our Discord. You have 3 tiers, $1.70 a month, $5 a month, and $10 a month. That's my dog in the background that you hear, by the way.
Okay.
He's ready to go outside. He's ready to go outside. I'm going to take him out in a second, but
Gotcha.
get to this first. Take Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Join today, starting at $1.70 a month. All 3 tiers get you access to our Discord. Scarvesandspikes.com. Follow us on social. You know where to find us, and we'll see you next time.
Let that dog out.